So starting up on turn one, I simply fueled up the French first motorized and trucked down the road to Cambrai, which for some reason I left completely open by the Germans. So I'm not really sure why I did that, but I didn't realize how fast they would be able to move. So I took the one supply point, they were up here. I took the supply point from here. I fueled up the entire multi-unit formation using the rule in the book about traveling supply. The road is a secondary road in this game. It's 1/2, so 1, 2, and 3. I left him behind. I moved into this hex with 3 armored units. And there's 4 planes there. So I got the airbase, a supply point, and a wagon. And there's nothing from stopping me moving in there. There's no 0 combat capable units or anything like that. It's simply a hex with a bunch of helpless supply and planes. So it's not really 0 strength units. Combat involving units with a 0 combat strength requires some special handling. I don't really have to attack the hex because there's really no combat unit in there. It's all supply. So what happens is, I can't actually believe I left this undefended. I'm not sure if I was allowed to set up in there and I just didn't put guys in there or what, but it'll get me a victory point. So as soon as you move into the hex, a few things happen here. There's a bunch of tables that you have to roll on. When an attack capable unit, these are all in combat mode by the way, enters a hex with a supply dump, such as this, you roll on the capture table to determine how many SP are captured by myself, and you round to the nearest token. The rest is destroyed. So we're going to take each of these in order. I'll be rolling for the supply, the air base to see how many air units are affected, and the transport unit. So right off the bat, I pretty much screwed up in my setup. I guess maybe the 5th Panzer should have been on the road. Looking through the scenario book, let's see here. Let's see what hex is this. We're doing Cambrai. What hex number is Cambrai? Let's see. 33, 11, 12, 13, 33, 14. Yeah, I don't really know how I'm supposed to defend that. I didn't put the 5th Panzer in reserve. So honestly, right off the bat, I really screwed up. The only thing that can save them is maybe down here. This group I've put in reserve, and I might be able to move the SS over during the reaction phase and try to take back the airbase. So interestingly, that's a really bad setup. So I don't think, I'm looking at the way I have it set up in 3323. I don't have any 3219. In 2 hexes. So there's no one near Cambrai at the opening of the scenario that the Germans could have done anything about. Let's see, 5th Panzer was 3415. Oh yeah, there it is. Within 2 hexes. I should have put this here. And instead I went this way, and I'm not really sure why I did that. It's probably one of the stupider setups I've ever done. Of course, you have to block the road. Plus, I didn't read the scenario and realize that this was worth a victory point. So, yeah. That's how you lose real quick. I mean, it's not over, of course, but I'll follow through with it and show you an example of what happens when you capture something like this. I just think it's kind of funny that I can't even stop myself from winning sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to pause real quick and then we'll be back with more. Okay, so according to the scenario setup, this wagon's actually fully loaded with that supply point, so we'll be rolling on the capture table for the wagon. So there's not a separate dump there, it's actually on the wagon. So I'm going to pan the camera up here, and we're going to take a look at the capture table. This will be a wagon right here, and loaded SPs. You'll roll a die, and you'll see what percentage is captured, and the remainder is usually destroyed. The remainder displaces up to 5 hexes. Okay, so there's special rules here if you check these little notations here. Alright. The captured portion includes the vehicles the dump might be with. These are converted into friendly counters and can move during the current phase if captured during the movement phase. Alright, so this should be pretty funny. Let's find out what happens. Okay, so I've rolled a 3, and that means 25% of the SPs are, let's see, captured. So we're going to break this down. 25% are captured, so I get 1 T token, because we're going to break this down into 4 Ts. Remember, 1 SP equals 4 Ts. So let's break this down. Let me find the appropriate counters here. So for simplicity's sakes, we'll put out a 2, a 1, and a 1. So I've actually never had this happen before, where you just roll right into a supply dump. I had one blown on me last game. So this goes away. I capture 1 T. Okay. The rest are displaced up to 5 hexes. Enemy units, ZOCs, and prohibited terrain do not affect displacement. Just pick up the transport points and place them in their new location. 4 to 5. The remainder displaces 5 hexes. 1, 2. Oh, this is Germans. 1, 2. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so they've seen the enemy coming, dust clouds down the road, and the crew and supply crew and subordinates and the people that support these massive army formations have gotten out of town. So that displaces. The wagon. Captured portion includes the vehicles the dump might be with. These are converted into friendly counters and can move during the current phase if captured. Alright, let's see here. Alright, I don't think I missed any rules on that. I think I captured that wagon, or the French do at least. Let me just double check. Okay, looks like it. So, this becomes a French wagon. And then we're going to check and see what happens to the airbase and the planes. I'll be right back with that. Alright, through the miracle of camera work, we suddenly have a French wagon. And the German wagon goes bye-bye. I have to keep track of some of these off to the side here, like German casualties. Alright, so we have captured the wagon in 1 T. Let's see what happens to the airbase. If you want to follow along, get your 4.2 rule book, and we are on page 20, rule 9.14F. When an enemy attack capable unit enters a hex of an airbase, it is captured. A captured airbase can be used immediately. I couldn't find any other colors for these, so I'm either missing something, or I was kind of hoping I had like blue airbase counters. Roll for each aircraft in the hex using the airbase capture table. Apply the results as shown, which will be reduction. All surviving aircraft then displaced to any friendly airbase within 2x range and become inactive. They cannot remain in the hex. If they must displace and become inactive. If no friendly airbase exists, destroy the planes. Shit. Germans only have, I think, this is hilarious. Okay, so I think these planes might be done, because I don't remember setting up another German airbase. Let's see, airbase capture table. So I doubt that this will even matter. 2 dice. These are all active. Alright, when airbase is captured, roll 2 dice for each aircraft. Okay, let's do the BF-109E. 6. Active. No effect. Okay, he manages to get off the ground. And you can see, let's see here. 7 actives, 5 or more. No effect. The next Messerschmitt takes off. Alright, let's do the Stukas. I was really going to try to use these in the German reaction phase, but uh-oh. 4 or less reduce aircraft. Okay, only a few Stukas managed to take off. A few planes are blown up on the runway. The Heinkel. He gets away with a 9. The Dornier. 5. He's active, 5 or more, no effect. These planes all take off. He's reduced and he takes off. And they must now go to, they all become inactive. And when they're inactive on the map, you put them underneath the airbase. So inactive planes would look like this on the map. Or you put them in a box. Some games have the box off the map that says active, inactive, like reluctant enemies. All right, now they must fly to another airbase. Yeah. Let me look at the setup. I can tell you right now if there's an airbase or not. Level 1 airbase, there is not. So we'll be invoking the rule about if no friendly airbase exists within double range, destroy the planes. All these planes are gone. There's nowhere for them to fly. They take off, they land in a field somewhere, they break their landing gear, or they run out of fuel and crash. Okay, so I've managed to pretty much defeat myself on the first turn of the game, and I think that's all I do for the air base. That is it. So we move the first motorized into here, and they capture 1T, a wagon, the air base, and they are done, and the artillery stays right outside Cambrai. And that's just one move. But you can see how quickly this fell apart. So I believe that's, according to the scenario rules, the French player now has 1 VP for capturing Cambrai. 1 VP for each of the following German units is either destroyed or captured or not. Trace supply each of the following is destroyed or captured. One for Cambrai, and both players earn 1/4 for each loss inflicted on the enemy. Okay, each loss. So those planes would be, that's 2 VPs and 1/4. So in one move, the Allies got 2 1/4 VPs. Now, the German player has reaction phase. I do have some reserve units here. So you could see them. This is going to be worthless. I don't know. I thought maybe, I don't know what I was thinking. So you're going to see maybe a counterattack here. It's not very much, I'll be honest with you. Got a supply dump, a truck. Actually, that's not shit. So it'd be up to the first SS, who, I'm going to move the camera slightly, you can see stacked here. They would have to counter, they would have to do a relief effort from reserve. And honestly, I think they can only move half their MA when they come out of that, which means either way, I think that they're screwed. Let me just check. So that would be during the reaction phase. Let me just look that up real quick and make sure. So if you look up reaction, that's page 13 of the rule book. Pardon the camera shake. Well, let's see if the Germans could even reach Cambrai. Reaction phase. The only ground units can be used are the non-phasing player's released reserve mode units. He can release as many as he wants. And they say to check out 5.7b, which I'm sure is going to tell us the movement allowance. 5.7b flies you out of reserve mode. Released reserves move with half their MA. So they're all in movement mode though, so they do have that going for them. Wow. Yeah, they can't even switch. So they get half. So there's some SS units in here. if you look at the counters, he could get there, but look at these strengths. I mean, threes. The scenario makes them all start in move mode. 4. So you've got pretty much neutered SS units racing. Now they could get there. I'm not sure I'd move the artillery anyway. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Best they could do against 4, 9, 13. It'd be like 11 to 13 attack, plus they're in a city. So even with the SS racing over, and they can't change their orientation. So even if the SS races over, you know, they react, they release, and they counterattack, it would be an 11 to 14. Oh, actually, I don't. It would be an 11 to 14 attack. I don't think they can take that hex back. So I'm going to call this a bad setup, and we're going to have a redo because I completely screwed myself. All right, so that you can see how that works, but at least you got to see what happens when you enter a vacant airbase with supplies. So I'm going to do this off camera and try this again because I really messed this up. All right, thanks everyone for watching again. Check out hudsonshideout.blogspot.com for more gaming and wargaming stuff. Look for Panzer Battle Southern Kursk. I'm going to be doing the John Tiller computer game soon. I'm going to be going through the tutorial. That's going to be just a blog post. It won't be on film camera or anything. All right, thanks again. I'm going to try to set this up and not screw myself.